We're now going to learn about something very important, which is the determinant of a matrix. So the determinant is used to establish whether or not a matrix has an inverse or not. So that's a very important statement right there. The determinant is used to establish whether or not a matrix has an inverse or not. Okay, so how do we find the determinant? Well, let's zoom in here. If matrix A is equal to this, the way in which we find the determinant is by doing this. So if you've got highlighters, now's a good time to use them. You want to go A times D, and then you want to subtract that by C times B. So there's BC there. So as you can see, you're multiplying diagonally across and then subtracting it. And that's going to give you the determinant. All right. Now, let's read this. If the determinant of a matrix is 0, no inverse exists. So if the determinant of a matrix is 0, no inverse exists. We call it a singular matrix. So a singular matrix is a matrix with no inverse. So that means that if you find the determinant and the determinant is 0, that means you've got a singular matrix. Let's keep on reading here. It says, you are only expected to calculate the determinant of a 2 by 2 matrix by hand. Anything bigger, use your CAS. So you'll only be expected to do this right here for a 2 by 2 matrix by hand. Anything else that's bigger, you can just use your CAS for it. So you do need to know how to do this by hand, but only for a 2 by 2 matrix. Down the bottom here, we also have just a repeat of what we were told here. If the determinant of A is 0, that means matrix A is singular. Therefore, matrix A does not have an inverse. I've also added in this important line here, and that is only square matrices have determinants, and therefore only square matrices have inverses as well. All right, before we move on, let's just for a moment consider this statement again, and that is that if you have a matrix with a determinant of 0, it means no inverse exists. So I've come here and I've just defined two matrices on my CAS. Here's matrix A, here's matrix B. Let's find the determinant of each of them. So if I go menu, if I go matrix, and then I go determinant, and then I go, all right, what's the determinant of A? So I've defined A here. Now I'm going, what's the determinant of A? As you can see, I get 0 out. So what that means is matrix A is what we call a singular matrix. So if the determinant of A is 0, matrix A is singular. So matrix A is a singular matrix, which means an inverse does not exist for it. In contrast, if we were to find a determinant for matrix B, so menu, matrix, determinant, and now I'm finding it for matrix B, as you can see, I don't get 0 out, I get a number out, which means matrix B does have an inverse matrix to it. All right, so that is what a determinant is. Hopefully it makes sense and you feel comfortable with doing that on your CAS, and you know what a singular matrix is. A lot of information there. Let's now practice this skill together.